Respect Life Sunday. Every year, the first weekend in October, the Archdiocese of St. Louis designates as Respect Life Sunday. So with that in mind, this homily. To those who advocate for life in the name of Christ, with clarity and charity, thank you. We must never tire of fighting for life. We must never tire of doing that. To those who have suffered from an abortion decision, the responsibility of the faithful is to support and heal a decision that loses a life and leaves a scar on the body and the soul. It is our responsibility to help out those who have been harmed by an abortion decision. As far as the decision goes to have an abortion, brothers and sisters, for 31 years I've listened to folks who have been part of an abortion decision. And I wonder how many of us would have made a different choice given the same circumstances. The saying, until you have walked in someone else's shoes. So let us remember that all of us have brokenness in our lives and that the goal of the church is to bring healing and hope as Christ did. There are so many cases where individuals decided on an abortion and they have become the most loving advocates and passionate advocates for life. So let us support and help those in need. So my words today are not for those who are seeking healing and reconciliation. My words are not for those people. We're here for you. My words today are for those who support and seek a procedure that destroys a body and a soul, not just of a child, but of a country. Stop insulting the Lord. He has been far too insulted already. These words were spoken by the Blessed Mother as she appeared to 3 children at Fatima, Portugal in 1917. Now remember the world then. The world was at war, World War I. There was this movement to take the church and God out of society and replace it with human reason alone. So with all of that going on, the Blessed Mother appeared to these 3 kids. She spoke to them. The crowds that gathered couldn't see the Blessed Mother, so the Blessed Mother would speak to these 3 kids, and then they would, relate what the Blessed Mother was saying to them. And she spoke those words. Stop insulting the Lord. He has been far too insulted already. And I think there are a lot of ways the abortion antagonists are insulting the Lord. If you look at salvation history, why is it that pregnancy, Elizabeth's and Mary's, for John the Baptist and Jesus, why is that front and center? Does that not show a dignity and primacy for life in the womb for the unborn? To deny the importance of life in the womb and make it expendable? Does that insult God? If you look at salvation history and see the importance of pregnancy, does that not elevate the instinctive dignity of motherhood that is part of the dignity of womanhood? Is not that God-given dignity insulted with abortion? Brothers and sisters, I never feel well. I never feel well. I've had type 1 diabetes for 55 years, and every day it's just deciding whether I feel better or worse than the day before. I've passed out while driving, and have had 2 very serious car accidents because of diabetes, and luckily, thanks be to God, no one in either accident was hurt. Growing up, I felt like a second-class citizen because of my health. My parents nor my siblings made me feel that way. It's just how I interpreted the disease, and I was wrong. We're all created with dignity in the image of God. As a society, are our laws treating the unborn as second-class citizens? I pray every day for a cure, and I think of others, suffering from cancer, heart disease, all the chronic diseases, the terrible diseases that are out there, and I'm sure we're all praying for cures. So how do we know? With these 60 million children and lives lost to abortion, how do we know that the scientist, the researcher, the doctor who could have cured any one of a number of diseases wasn't lost? Or the next, great artist, politician, civil rights leader, religious leader. The inherent goodness of life created by God in the womb is insulted by those who refuse the gifts that come from life. Let us not treat the unborn as second-class citizens. And let us remember the possibility of miracles that God brings with life. To those who support abortion and advocate for it, let us pray for a change of heart. It is illogical. Take religion out of this. It is illogical to believe that someone can be for the immigrants who are either illegal immigrants or undocumented people, depending on how they're named. It's illogical to believe that someone can care for the poor. It is illogical to conclude that someone is advocating for any race or gender when they won't advocate for a segment of society that is the most vulnerable, the most innocent, and unguarded. It is impossible to reconcile the chasm that exists in those beliefs. All of us are against poverty, and we are for the poor to gain basic needs. And honestly, in a country this rich and wealthy, poverty should be at a minimum, and there are many reasons for poverty. To see someone begging on a street corner or knocking at the directory door, it directs the heart to help. We want to help. But is that a greater sin than abortion? You will hear clergy and Catholic theologians make the claim that poverty exists as the same evil as abortion. Well, if we're going to say that poverty should not exist, then we must say that abortion should not exist. And of the 2 black marks on a country this wealthy, abortion is an intrinsically evil action on the child in the womb, on the mother, on the family, and on society. And remember this: the poor person has rights, and the unborn must have those equal rights afforded to the poor if we're going to be consistent. And right now, that's not how the laws are set up. Put quite simply, shouldn't we just be against both? Abortion is an intrinsic evil where the child has no chance. The poor at least have a chance. We do not want to insult God by ignoring the poor, then neither should we insult God by supporting abortion. Abortion is evil. Evil never does anything by accident. Evil manipulates and impatiently deceives and strategizes and makes excuses to make evil stronger to achieve an outcome of despair, anarchy, destruction, violence. Mother Teresa stated, any country that accepts abortion is not teaching its people to love, but to use violence to get what they want. Remember that line from her with what we are facing right now in this country. We cannot come to a treaty with evil. Either we stop insulting the Lord, or we support this evil and it grows. Do not support abortion. Support the life-giving alternatives. There's adoption, there's Project Rachel, there's Project Joseph, there's Coalition for Life, there's Respect Life Apostolate. There are all kinds of pro-life movements to safeguard the unborn. Let us do what we can legally and powerfully and with powerfully charitable voices to stop abortion. Why? Because we do not want to insult the Lord. He has been far too insulted already.